Well, Samir Halai, I just think you're single-handedly, your organization is saving the world. I mean, Sunfunder, right, is just going to, God, it looks like what, billion and a half people that don't are not receive any electricity now. That you're going to get it to all of them, and have the rest of the world just really almost make money doing it too. I mean, it's amazing. You're lending money to underdeveloped countries, right? Who are going to put villages are going to have sources of solar power to do their cell phones or electricity, to read a book at night or whatever it is. And you just do it with a loan to these people. And the people who are helping you do it get their money back. Everybody wins, and some family is really going to improve the rest of the world, just like you are, right? And become an. So what made you think about this?
Well, when I was in grad school, I was introduced to the idea of the fortune at the bottom of the pyramid. And the idea there is that there are very compelling, profitable businesses that you can build around addressing the needs of the underserved population. I had done some work in making such a win-win-win type company in the healthcare space in the US. And I wanted to apply that model to the developing world. And that's where I met my co-founder, Ryan, who has a background in solar finance coming from Wells Fargo. And as you said, there's 1.3 billion people with no electricity. And then if you look at the people that are connected to the grid, but they don't have 24/7 electricity, and that's 2.5 billion people as well. So there's a big energy need in the world. And as people come out of poverty and as we grow, there's going to be a growing energy need. And the traditional farms that we have now are just not equipped to meet that. And in developing world, in most of the regions where people don't have electricity, solar actually is a cheaper alternative with no subsidies. And that's where it gets really interesting, because the economics are in place where something like 10 months of kerosene money is enough to get a solar panel, a system in place, and then you have electricity for years to come. And it's not just a replacement for kerosene, it's actually significantly better. It has more cleaner light, cell phone charging, and all the needs that people have in those regions. So it's actually a compelling net rational economic model.
So somebody who's spending, in a village, spending 10 months worth of money on oil for kerosene, can take that same money and put a solar panel on, and they'll have it forever, right?
That's right.
But
well,
they
up to the
don't.
shelf life.
But they don't have that 10 months of money to invest. So that's where you guys come in, right?
That's right.
And you lend the money. So then they'll save money in the long run, but it's getting past those 10 months.
That's right. Yeah.
And you do it. So you have a cape, a red cape, you fly in and do that.
Something like that. But we actually rely on other entrepreneurs which have ears to the ground, who are close to these regions, and we help them grow by financing them to achieve what their company's goals are.
So this is like a local solar company, in the village says, hey, I can get solar to everybody, but my customers don't have money. So what you're doing through your platform is lending that solar company money so they could get it to the customers. And as the customers pay daily or weekly or monthly or whatever it is, they pay you back the money. You get all the money back, and they get power for the rest of their life.
That's right.
Wow, what a deal! Why can't we do that in the States? That's terrific. And what's really interesting to me too is that you're creating entrepreneurism, and jobs and things like that. And they're getting better resources being used on something that perpetuates forever instead of just burning it up in oil, which is unhealthy, and they probably have shorter lifespans breathing that oil in.
Yeah, when you start measuring the impact, like kerosene lamps give you 5 lumens of light, but a typical solar light gives you 70 lumens of light.
70 versus 5, wow.
Yeah. And in your room right now, we are used to 90 lumens. That's kind of what we do as a typical task light. So imagine what you can do with just 5 lumens. You really cannot do much. And it's smoky, and it's actually the cause of, we actually have seen people say that there have been fires and people have lost people because of the kerosene lamps. It's a big hazard in these closed places. So you're not just replacing a kerosene lamp, you're actually improving the quality of life, giving a significantly better quality. And then not just that, you're also then getting cell phone charging. So, that's another thing that has been very fascinating. Typically, there's around 600 million people in the world that have phones with no way of charging them.
So there's over 500 million people have phones, but they can't charge them, huh?
That's right. And they rely on them for access to opportunity and information. And that's really the only thing they have to get access. And typically, like it could take like a day to charge a phone.
A day to charge a phone. I mean, the electricity is that slow or what?
You walk out for 2 hours to the village, and then there's some person that has a car battery that they have charged in some neighboring city and driven back to this village, and then they use the car battery to charge your phone off it and charge you money. And it takes 5 to 6 hours to do that, and then boom, a day is gone. But now with a solar charger at home, you have light at night, and you can also charge your phone overnight. And you've just not just saved the money on charging the phone, you also saved a day on charging the phone.
So that's a couple $100 system at the home saves them a day of work every 2 days that they have to do to go charge the phone. I mean, the resources that you're saving. Now, people get involved in this by going to Sunfunder, right? And they can lend money to your projects, which are all vented, right? So the people we're giving money to are not just somebody putting on your website. They're people you've checked out, businesses or whatever. And so and then people get all their money back that they're helping with this, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
So yeah, we are more like a bank in many ways because we are a finance company. We do very strict diligence on the partners that we put on the website. Anyone you see there is someone that has been vetted very, very well. We look at their business documents. We understand their business plan. We look at the way they have been doing their work so far. We don't provide. We don't work with partners that are too early stage. We're looking at partners that have learned things from the ground, and they're now looking to scale. So there's a lot of things that you have to go through when you start a solar company in this space. You first think it's just the product. You figure out what the product is, but then you quickly realize that distribution is a big problem. So you have to figure out your distribution model. How are you going to get these things to the people that are far away and hard to reach? And then a service model. What are you going to do when things break down?
Nothing breaks down.
So once you start, and then repayments. How are you going to collect payments? Is it mobile payments? Are you doing it through phones, or is someone going knocking on every door and getting the money? So once companies have figured those things out, and they've done 5 or 10 villages, they eventually run out of capital because, as you said, it's capital intensive. You have to put money in upfront. So now they're like, hey, we have a model. We have everything in place. I'm going to do this for the next 1,000 villages, and we need money for that. And that's when they go to a bank, and traditional banks feel like, nope, this is too risky. We don't want to do this. And they're too big at that point to rely on microfinance organizations. So that's where we come in. It's a niche which is so huge because there's so many people around the world that have reached that stage where they just need money to scale. And that's where we come in. And what happens for you?
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying what happens when you then go to the site is now you're looking at these whitelisted high quality projects that then you can invest in. And you can put as little as $10.
But I mean, it looks like everybody's getting all their money back now, on your project. So nobody is going to lose. And it looks like I could even put little bits of money in different projects if I want. So to spread the money. Also, but I could give it as gifts. So I could give like $100 to this person who needs, a solar panel so he doesn't have to spend a day charging a cell phone. And I could do it in a friend's name, and then they get actually to get the money back too. So I'm giving them a gift and solving that person's problem with recharging the cell phone somewhere else in the world. I mean, it's just give, and everybody's getting something out of this deal. It's just a wonderful thing to do, and I think mainly people should get involved and know about what you're doing is how this model works. I mean, what you're really doing is teaching the rest of us how you can do something that is more than social responsible, but really helping people, as an entrepreneur, with nobody's greed taking a lot of money out of all this stuff, but everybody's getting real help with very little effort and very little money from anybody else to make it all happen. And because they're saving money by what you're providing, so it's everybody's winning.
Yeah. Yeah, we have a very, again, we only invest in projects where we are convinced that the end users are way better off than they were before. And that actually is not just for, it's a socially responsible thing to do, but again, that's where it's aligned, because it's also a business thing to do. If you want your repayments back, you want to make sure people are better off.
And if they're better off now, and they'll create more to society too and give more back, So you're helping so much. Well, it's so much fun to find you. I never heard about this until I found you at sunfunder.com, right? And so people should go there and see how don't go to the bank. Don't save your money in the bank. Save it at Sunfounder and get somebody, don't have to spend a day charging their cell phone. Thank you so much for being there.
Thanks.